and not hurt, not but pain, literally pain. And from my own experience, that's where my identity crisis kind of just uprooted, and I actually found myself was that even though on November 5th, November 5th, 2020, that last person kind of said, you know, I don't think you're ready. I don't think you're prepared to actually write the book. Everything was already built up in me. And it was just like, all right, I have to take this risk because you're the last person that's ever going to say this to me. And I'm going to believe what you're going to say. I'm not going to believe anything you say. So I think pain is the biggest benefactor of actually finding yourself and actually saying, hey, I'm hurt, like acknowledging where you are and actually taking a leap of faith to say, hey, I'm right here. I'm hurting. I feel like I can't do anything, but I have a different outlet that's going to make me feel even better.
Good people, what's up? What's good? I know you guys are probably enjoying the show, but before we get started, let me tell you guys about Kush Inn Heights. It is a dope clothing brand that merges Black history with clothing. They are amazing, good people. Check them out and follow them at Kush_Inn_Heights. Like Heights, you already know how to spell that. Hopefully, Kush Inn Heights, we'll have that spelled for you right here at the bottom. Check them out, follow them on social media, get you some dope merch, rock it. And what they especially talk about, which is really, really cool, is that the meaning of Kush. Kush was a dope civilization. Way before we start talking about cannabis and weed, Kush was an actual place before Egypt as well. So again, man, they talk about history. They merge that Black culture with dope merchandise, high quality. Follow the good people at Kush Inn Heights. Show them love and support on social media. Purchase, shop with them, and you will not be disappointed. Again, at Kush_Inn_Heights. Show them some love. Peace. Let's get back to the show. Good people, what's up, what's good, man? We are back with another edition of the 3 Milli Podcast. Blessed to be your host, Caleb Smith. Today, man, we got a very, very special guest, man. Came in from the VA, DC area, DMV. Killing it, man. Author, young, Black, in his 20s, killing the game, sharing so much for game on Instagram, on social media. An amazing author. He just came out with his book, Prosper. Jeremiah O'Brien. How you feeling, my man?
I'm doing great. Thank you again, Caleb, for having me here, man.
Honored.
I'm grateful just to be here. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, man, today's conversation is needed. So many young people, millennials, have stories. And, you know, for you to take that leap of faith, share that story with the world, man, that's so important. So we commend you, man, for just being vulnerable. Like, I can only imagine that that's hard, sharing your story. So if you can, tell us the whole background story behind Prosper. How did that whole concept come to life? And what inspired you to start your very first book, come out with it, major success? Talk about Prosper for us.
Yes. So back in 2019, I originally had my first manuscript.
Wow.
Prosper wasn't the original name. The original name was Everything Is Not Okay.
Wow.
So I wanted to have a book that focused primarily on something that dealt with self-development, something that dealt with, you know, encouraging the people that came after me.
Yeah.
But I tabled it in 2019 and I wanted to create something else. So in 2020, it came as an extended thought throughout the year, but I never kind of paid attention to it until November 5th, 2020. And I was talking to a friend and they were kind of like, you know, if you really want to do this, I don't think this is the perfect time for you. You have a lot of stuff already going on. I'm like, man, should I pay attention to that? Should I pay attention to this outside noise? Or should I actually entertain this thought? So I woke up the next day, November 6th, 2020, no lie. And I was like, all right, we're just going to take a leap of faith and just try it out. Despite of the fact that someone was not believing in me, I had to believe in myself because a lot of times people are expected, you expect people to believe in your dreams or believe in you. But I learned this phrase that it says, exchange expectation for appreciation. So I appreciate that moment that she gave me to doubt me because it gave me the leap of faith that I needed to keep going. So November 6, 2020, I took the leap of faith and I met 3 people along the way that kind of just encouraged me with no charge, that was saying, hey, if you really want to do this, we're all in and we're not going to charge you a dime. We're just going to pretty much need a free book after we're done. So throughout that journey, I was discouraged to complete. Changed my manuscript 20 times.
20 times.
20 times.
Wow.
So I tell people that, and I'm like, wow, you had to change your manuscript 20 times? I'm like, yeah, because I had no idea. And I would talk to my brother and just try to tell him that your speaking voice is not the same as your writer's voice, because a lot of people believe when you're writing a book, it's essay writing, but in reality, people want to hear from you, you know, that voice inside of your head on paper of what you actually sound like. Yeah. And this book, Prosper, like this literally changed my life forever, because I didn't have anything that kept me going. Being an identical twin was a struggle growing up, because you constantly compare to someone else and not your individual person. So we will always say, you know, how can I find this person? How can I find myself with being a twin? And until my sophomore year of college, I didn't know who I was. Wow. I existed physically, but internally I didn't exist. Yeah. So that awakening on November 6, 2020 gave me everything I needed to keep going.
I love that, man. Blocking out all the noise for young creatives, young authors. How do we just stay focused and not get worried about this person's opinion or that person saying, you know, you sure that you want to share your story, or, man, writing a book is so hard, and all those other just negative thoughts? How do we block all that craziness out and, you know, lock in, stay focused on the goal?
Yeah, I think the best thing you need to do to lock in is to try it out for yourself, because someone's always going to say something about whatever you're doing. That's real. And consistency and just appreciating the journey of why you're there. So the first person I mentioned, I met 3 people. So the first person I knew, he wrote a book. He was really successful. And when I talked to him about writing a book, he was like, all right, I'm not going to charge you a dime. Wow. I just believe in what you're trying to do, and I'm going to help you. So sometimes just appreciating people that come along your way and pay attention to those signs that come, because I'm very spiritual. So God gives you a glimpse of something that that can actually happen in your life. And sometimes you have to pay attention to that glimpse, because sometimes he'll say, hey, here it is. And then he'll never show it to you again. And you have to catch it. As soon as it happens, you have to catch it, and you have to believe in the things that you can't see, because faith is unknown. But to appreciate where you are, to appreciate where you're going, you have to realize that that risk that you're trying to do or whatever you're trying to create, it can happen. So when I met that first person and he was like, all right, we're all in, we're going to figure it out. He gave me full access to call him whenever I wanted, full access to just pitch different ideas off his head. He actually helped create the subtitle, My Path to the Presidency, How Overcoming Identity Led Me to Become SGA President, because he wanted something that gave me like some sort of focus that can kind of catch the eyes to others. And SGA President, I was the SGA President at Norfolk State.
HBCU.
Yes, sir. Norfolk State University. And even the cover itself, some of those ideas that came, I changed the cover about 6-7 times too. Wow. So just young creators out there, I encourage you, if you want to do something, people are going to help you along the way, but don't count yourself out just because it's not happening right there, because it's going to happen. You have to believe in it. And the best thing you do is to stay consistent, try it out. If it doesn't work, okay, put it down, but pick something else up that works for you.
I love that. Finding the right person, right mentor, man, if you can, please just like expound upon how important it is to find that mentor, anybody, you know, who can guide you throughout their journey.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people feel like, you know, how do I find a mentor? Do I have to like search online, or do I have to find someone in my family? Right. And I think the biggest thing is that when finding someone, because sometimes I don't like the word mentor. I say a person that pushes you or encourages you. I like that. And even being an author, I don't like to say book anymore. I like transformational story, because book is so universal. And mentor is so universal. Sometimes you just need someone that is encouraging you to push you to that next step. And it can be someone in your circle that can be, you know, a little bit older than you, or even around your same age group. Right. And you pay attention to the way they're moving, the way they're taking their journey seriously. Facts. And that can be as of influence to you as much as a mentor. And sometimes a lot of people say, I need an OG. I need someone that's, I need someone that's 20, 30 years, a little bit more experienced. But yes, you may want that, but at the same time, age is just a number, and experience is just something that comes along with your age group.
Yeah.
So I'm 23 and of course I haven't seen anything, but I've been exposed because exposure creates that experience. So if you are taking the leap of faith and trying to have these conversations with people, so if you want to start a book club, if you want to, start an entertainment business, reach out to some of those people and say, hey, I love the work that you're doing. It'd be great if I could just shadow you for a day. It's just something like that, volunteer, get it out for free.
Yeah.
Dr. Miles Monroe said he spent 15 years working for free, just pretty much pouring out spiritual guidance, spiritual work for other people for free. And then sooner or later, he was getting paid $15,000 for speaking for 40 minutes. And people were looking at him crazy. He was like, no, I gave it out for free.
He put in the work.
Yes. Yeah. So having a mentor, yes, is important, but I think the real guidance comes from within first and believing that you can do it. Because if you're seeking knowledge from someone else, yes, seek the knowledge, but interpret it back into your own life and how you want to live your own life, because your journey is your own and your story is your own.
That's beautiful stuff, man. Y'all tap in. Jeremiah is giving us out free game. SGA President, man, that is a very tall task. How did that feel being elected as SGA President of a very historic school, HBCU, Norfolk State, beautiful campus, beautiful school? How did that feel being SGA President? And then after becoming president, becoming an author as well. So how did you balance all of those things? And then how did that feel as well?
Yes. So I was elected September 19, 2020, throughout the pandemic. Yeah. So prior to that, usually SGA presidents get elected in April before the summer starts throughout their senior year or whatever year you're coming into that following school year. But since the pandemic kind of held that up, the school put the SGA presidential role on the back burner, and they were going to wait until the fall to elect. So I was kind of counting myself out initially throughout the year, because I started out really excited to run for president. And then when the pandemic happened in the school, didn't feel like it was important to elect a president at this time. I was like, okay, maybe it's not for me at this time. Maybe I shouldn't run. And then the fall came and I said, man, I have to do this. Like, it's a lot of stuff that I want to touch. It's a lot of people I want to touch. And once I was elected, I was excited. I was actually doing an interview with Wavy News TV, which is down in Norfolk.
Nice.
And I was doing something we were having a Senate debate at our school, and a lot of people were featured, and the person that was actually running against me, he was standing right next to me. So they said the announcements were coming out at 9 a.m. And I think it was 8:30, and I kept checking my phone every 5 minutes. Like, all right, maybe they're going to send the email a little bit earlier. Yeah. And I remember checking it at 9 a.m. on the dot, and I saw my name, and I put my phone right back in my pocket. Wow. I was like, no, that can't be. I was like, that can't be true. I said, it can't be true. So immediately after the interview was over, the guy who was running against me, he tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, hey, congratulations, Jeremiah. I was like, thank you. Because I already knew I won, so I didn't even have to look at my email. Cool. Yeah, I had to play it cool. I didn't have to look at my email anymore. But it was an exciting experience. But one thing I learned throughout that, especially that fall semester, was I'm a very independent person, but I had to realize that I can't do everything on my own. I had to learn how to delegate. And that was one of my challenges. That was one of the weaknesses I had throughout my presidency, because I wanted to make sure everything was perfect, but everything won't be always perfect. Everything won't be perfect. And that's the appreciation of it too. I had to realize that people behind me are looking up to me, and they want those tasks at hand so they can gain that same experience. And going back to your original question, mentorship, that's where mentorship comes into play. When you're in a position of leadership, you have to pass the torch down, because people are trying to have the same skills, have the same opportunities that you have, so they can be in that same position when they get the chance to do so as well. And balancing being an SGA president and writing a book at the same time was hard. So I would not go to certain parties with friends, or I would say, hey, if I did go to a party and we got back at like 2 a.m., I would still sit at my desk for additional 2 hours, and I'd be up to like 4 a.m. But I still had to create that balance. And it was definitely hard, because I would spend 5 to 6 hours a day writing.
Wow.
And I would spend hours and hours, at least 8 to 12 hours throughout the day. Even between like homework, I would do a little bit of my homework. I'm like, oh, I got to send some voice memos to my editor, because he wanted to see my speaker's voice versus my writer's voice. So I had to create that balance. And I finished creating my portion of the book in February, and then we went to the editorial process towards the end of February. And it was a lot. It was a lot to balance, because my first projection date to release was in May. I was like, hey, this is going to be my graduation gift. I get to tell the world world about me being the SGA president. Wow. We just finished the first editorial process, and I had to go through a second one. Man. And I was like, oh my goodness. I done told everybody I'm releasing. Yes. Everybody's like, where's the book? I'm like, oh, it's coming. It's coming.
Hey, just wait on it. That's it.
Yeah. So then I went through another editorial process for additional 3.5 months. Wow. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is an additional summer. I have to spend the summer editing again, going back and forth with this editor. I'm like, please, August is the wave. We're gonna release in August. So I was taking pictures. I was having photo shoots.
Wow.
We did not release in August. I was like, man, everyone's like, wait, you took pictures and you're ready to release. So I was moving too fast for my own good a little bit. And I had to realize that, yes, I wanted to release it. I wanted to move fast. Yeah. But sometimes you have to appreciate the journey, and you have to take a step back and say, hey, we're just going to appreciate what we have right now without anything like expecting anything to come after it. Just appreciate where I was. And once I realized that I wasn't releasing in August, I'm like, all right, let's just chill for a second. Because sometimes in stressful situations, we as people do not realize that we have to just, okay, I got to chill for a second. I got to take a step back and realize that this is a situation that I can't put my hands on right now. And once I realized that, we finished the editorial process in October, and I was ready to release in November. So it was amazing. I was excited. So throughout that journey, even my book signing, people were, crying. People were happy and excited. I was just happy just to be there. Like I was just, I didn't realize it was actually finished, and I had all my books at the book signing, and I was like, I'm really an author. Like, and I got my copies, and I was like, whoa, like this is crazy. So just to appreciate the journey of just balancing SGA president and being an author was definitely difficult, but it was one worthwhile. So
I love that. Appreciating the journey. That's a beautiful concept, because man, in this social media age and era, we can get caught up in comparison, trying to speed things up. How can young creatives not get caught up in trying to compare and trying to speed up our process and actually like take our time, embrace step by step all the ebbs and flows, all the ups and downs as well?
Yes. So there's a quote that I say every day: comparison kills purpose.
Yes, sir.
So in reality, when you're comparing yourself to other people, you cannot align. Your purpose won't be in alignment with it, because perfect alignment comes from you believing in yourself, not people believing in your purpose. So a lot of people, expect people to believe in their dreams, believe in their purpose. That's not their objective. Their objective is to believe in you. If people believe in you, then you're able to believe in your purpose.
That's right.
And in reality, you have to realize that if you're comparing yourself to other people, if you're so drawn into the social space, if you're not getting out and talking to people that are in real life, you will fall into that loop to expect people to, hey, I need these likes, I need these most views, I need 20,000 views on every post. Just post. If you're posting your story, if you're posting your life and it's authentic, if it's genuine, people are going to follow that, because people spot out realness and fakeness on the internet easy.
That's right.
Easy.
Yeah.
And I learned that when I was posting initially, when I was sharing different quotes, when I was sharing my story about my book and my development, that people were following that because it made them feel real, and it made them feel like they were a part of this journey. Because people love exclusiveness. So if you create a space where people feel like, oh, I have full access to Jeremiah and his book production process. Oh yeah, I'm going to love that. So create a space where you're not comparing yourself to other people, because your purpose cannot fall in place with that. It will not work. It does not happen at the same space. So comparison kills purpose is one thing I have to say that taught me the biggest lesson throughout this process.
Man, free game again. On your page, man, speaking about game, you give out so much value consistently. What sparks that in you, man? Because you can say, hey, I already published my transformational story, not book. It's already out there in the world. I don't have to share any of my knowledge. I don't have to share any of my insight. I'm Gucci. Instead, man, you're constantly sharing value, quotes, insight, everything. What inspires that for you every single day?
Yeah. So every day I wake up and I just tell myself, if I can just touch one person, then I'm gonna be okay. I ask God every day, if I could touch one person, I'm good. And I don't just say I'm good, but at the same time, I just want to appreciate every moment without expectation. So exchanging expectation for appreciation is one thing I say. And despite of me writing a book, despite of me meeting a lot of people, or just writing a story or becoming SGA president, I know there's someone that's looking at me like, hey, I want that. I want what he has. I want that. If I can just change my life, or just see that he's actually doing something, I know that makes me fulfilled. And despite of some days I wake up and say, I don't feel like putting any information out. There's something that, and I tell my brother all the time, we have these talks that someone is looking at you in appreciation that I need to change my life based on the words that they're saying.
That's right.
Or whenever I talk to my friends, like, hey, your message really helped me. And it can be my closest friends that say, hey, like, what can you just help me with this situation, or I need this situation fixed. And it inspires me every day. And even if no one says anything, I still appreciate the people that are around me that are actually, their lives are actually changing from the benefit of the words that I'm saying on social media, or just the connection I'm saying with them in person. So
that's beautiful, man. Again, SGA President, that's not a small feat at all. HBCU SGA President,
yes,
that's
sir.
even bigger, man. That's crazy. Throughout that whole college experience, what was probably the biggest lesson that you gained so far throughout that experience?
Yes, take your time. And I used to have, I told my mentee, I used to have a whole bunch of notes, sticky notes. I was a sticky note, I had a sticky note like fetish. So I used to love sticky notes. She would always see me, it's like, man, why do you have all these sticky notes? You got sticky notes on your desk. You got sticky notes in your book bag. And he was like, all right, you don't have to get everything done today. So I'll have a to-do list.
That's right.
And I'll have like 10 things on the to-do list for that day. And he's like, you're not going to get all those things done today. Like, just take your time. You have 7 days a week.
That's right.
Like, literally, you can break it up. And one thing I had to learn, I actually didn't learn this to my senior year of college, to get a planner. So I had to get a planner my senior year because I was the SGA president and so much
you had a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I had to actually schedule different things, or say, hey, I had to say no to different things. And because my brother says this all the time, that I'm a yes man, because I feel like I have to fulfill people's dreams, or just help people up, and just feel like I have to be there for a lot of people. But he's like, how you can't be there for people unless you're being there for yourself first.
Right.
So if you're not okay, how do you feel like you're going to help anybody else? Because they're going to be like, oh, I'm getting half of what I'm supposed to.
That's
you
right.
know, and people can spot out, like I said, fakeness. So if you're trying to help someone and be there for someone, that's one thing I had to learn was, 1, take your time, and 2, pace yourself, and then 3, just appreciate that people are actually being there for you as much as you're going to be there for them, but you have to be there for yourself too.
That's right.
So,
man, again, y'all, he's killing this. I love this, man. Delegation, hearing you talk about that for leaders, everyday people, that's something that's very hard, because people try to control everything, or, visionaries have to see step 1 go all the way up to step 10. But at the same time, you have to trust your team.
Right.
So as somebody that's writing amazing stories, telling your own story, how do you trust other people around you on your team as well?
Yes. So I hold each person accountable depending on what I task them with.
Yeah.
Every person plays their role. And I think that's really, really important, because if I'm the quarterback of the team and I have a wide receiver, I'm throwing the ball because it's going to be on target. And the wide receiver's job is only supposed to get to that target. And one of my friends told me that when you're playing the quarterback position, when you're being this leader, and you're trying to delegate, their objective is to get to that point. So if I'm tasking you to do a certain thing, I'm going to throw the ball to you, get to that point, and just make sure the task is done in completion. But like I said, delegation was hard for me, because I would feel like, all right, I'm not going to throw the ball to you today, because I feel like you're not going to get it done the way I want it to get done. But sometimes quarterbacks, when you see the NFL, they're going to throw it to, even if the receiver doesn't
he's
catch
throwing it to the spot.
Even if he doesn't make it or he doesn't get the touchdown,
That's
he's
right.
just going to make sure it gets there, because he's trusting that his team is going to get it done. So
That's right.
that was one of the things I had to learn, was to trust that my team had to get it done. But one thing I did learn was that when I trusted them, even though it didn't come out maybe the way I wanted to, I saw that I can come back and say, hey, let's just tweak this a little bit. I didn't have to put all the work and effort onto myself to actually try to get it done. I can say, all right, let's just change this one thing. Oh, this is great. We don't have to change anything, versus trying to sit here for hours and hours trying to develop a written letter or trying to develop a project or an event, versus actually just sitting there. All right, let's sit back. I'm going to throw the ball. And soon as it gets done, now we're in the touchdown. We get a touchdown, we're good. So that was one thing I had to realize was, if I'm going to play the quarterback position, if I'm going to be that leader, then make sure you get to that target. And then if you get to that target, if you do or if you don't, we still appreciate that we actually threw the ball. We actually went through the process. We're running drills, and the job is going to get done regardless. So
I love it, man. On your page, bro, you dropped a great gem about sometimes like somebody's hometown can like somewhat, hold you back. So if you can, please, expound like just over that whole concept of taking a risk. Sometimes, being from a certain place that can hold you back, whether it's being an author, a content creator, anything in life.
Yes. So chapter 6 actually in my book is named Escape Route.
Wow.
So in Escape Route, I discuss my journey of leaving my hometown to go to Norfolk State University.
Yeah.
And I discussed how I was able to, how I was pretty much just envious of a lot of people, trying to be like a lot of people when I was in high school or middle school. And once I was able to leave, I saw the appreciation of people that actually saw me as value versus trying to benefit off of me, or I didn't have to be myself. Just authenticity, just being me.
Yeah.
And once I got to school, I met one of my friends, Dawan, and he told me, hey man, if you really want to just do whatever you want to do, just do it. Don't worry about what anybody says. Just try it out. If it works, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And one of the things I used to have was a struggle with just trying to figure out what worked for me, because I wasn't really good at sports. I wasn't really good at just writing. I wasn't really good at a lot of things, but he was just like, man, you can't get good at anything if you don't try it out and see if it works for you. And you have to practice, stay consistent, and actually focus on what you say that you want to do. So in Escape Route, once I left my school, I finally saw value in myself and my worth, actually just appreciating that I actually can be somebody, or I had potential to just accomplish all the goals that I wanted to achieve.
Man, dope stuff. Identity. That's something that so many people struggle with, young people,
right?
Our age group, black, white, any walk of life, like being, again, on social media, seeing things, it's like, okay, again, people trying to compare, or people just not knowing who we are. So how do we find who we are sometimes?
Yes. So I think the appreciation of that is pain, and not hurt, but pain, literally pain. And from my own experience, that's where my identity crisis kind of just uprooted. And I actually found myself was that even though on November 5th, 2020, that last person kind of said, I don't think you're ready. I don't think you're prepared to actually write the book. Everything was already built up in me. And it was just like, all right, I have to take this risk, because you're the last person that's ever going to say this to me. And I'm going to believe what you're going to say. I'm not going to believe anything you say. So I think pain is the biggest benefactor of actually finding yourself and actually saying, hey, I'm hurt, like acknowledging where you are, and actually taking a leap of faith to say, hey, I'm right here. I'm hurting. I feel like I can't do anything, but I have a different outlet that's going to make me feel even better, without expecting that thing to heal me. Because a lot of people say, yeah, how are you feeling today? People say good. It is a protection of how they actually feel, versus say, yeah, I'm healing. I'm healing. And honestly, I think that's transformational. That's why I said my book is a transformational story, because your life is going to transform when you realize and acknowledge who you are and where you are, without any comparison to anybody, without any comparison to what's going on in the world. You have to realize that you have the most potential to achieve everything that you want. And I think pain is the biggest benefactor to say, hey, I'm hurting. Yeah. And if people are there to help you, if they're not, but you can utilize that pain to actually turn it into purpose, for you to prosper, for you to grow. And that's what my book is about. Identity, but also prospering from that identity to actually say, hey, I'm hurting, but I'm going to find something that is beneficial to me.
Good people, are you guys ready to turn your next idea into your business idea? If so, make sure to hit up the good folks at the Blk Agenda Firm. Coach Ken and the team, they will take great care of you. They'll do everything from establishing that LLC, that tough business plan, the business consultations, everything that you need to take that business off to the next level. If you're serious about becoming a full-time entrepreneur, scaling that business, making 6 figures plus, you already know who you got to contact. Coach Ken, the Blk Agenda Firm. Make sure to show them some love, tap in with them, and follow them on social media at the Blk Agenda, and also make sure to follow Coach Ken as well. We cannot wait for you to connect with him, have a great time, and also take that business to the next level and get that bag. Tap in again with the Blk Agenda Firm. I'm going to say it again, the Blk Agenda Firm. Check them out. Tap in. Transforming that pain. Your story is so amazing, man. Hearing about, you having to give yourself affirmations for 30 days, telling yourself who you are. If you can, man, please share with everyone just how important it is overall to affirm, speak to ourselves, be confident, and say, yo, I am worthy. Yes. How important is that?
Yes. So the second person, I met 3 people. So the second person I met, she wrote 5 books. And the first book sold for like 25,000 copies. And I was like, man, I have to connect with her. I have to talk with her, not for the benefit that she was writing all these books, but just how influenced she was able and transparent. She was able to just talk about her story.
Right.
And I remember calling her one day, and I was telling her, hey, I'm writing a book right now. I would love some of your mentorship. She's like, okay, are you comfortable talking about your life? Are you comfortable talking about how you struggle with identity, how you're becoming the SGA president, and then even your family life? And I was like, I don't think I'm too comfortable to talk about that. Even though I'm writing a book, I don't think I'm too sure to talk about this every day. She's like, okay, we'll have nothing to talk about anymore. It's fine. I'm like, wait, hold on. Please. I really want your help. She's like, all right, cool. Before I help you, you have to say these affirmations for 30 days. I'm like, what? 30 days? We just met. All I need to do is all I need is some help and some guidance. Like, I just need a little bit of editing or something that you can help me with. Maybe get my license, my copyright for my book. Anything. She said, no, I'm not helping you with anything until you say these affirmations for 30 days. And the affirmation goes like this: I'm confident, I'm a Black male, and I'm an author. So she said, if you say this for 30 days, I'll help you. And you can send me voice memos, you can call me, you can text me, you can scream it. Whatever you want to do, you could take a picture, video, whatever it is. I need you to do this for 30 days, 7 days a week, not just Monday through Friday, not just Tuesday or Thursday. I need you to do this every single day for 30 days.
Wow.
So 30 days throughout the month of January, starting on January 1st, for 30 days, I said that to her. And she said, now I can help you. She said, now I can help you. And sometimes I think affirmations changes your way of thinking. I know it changes your way of thinking.
You experienced it.
I experienced it because after I was done for 30 days, I'm like, I believe, I'm believing it. And I remember a couple of days I would scream a message to her, and she's like, yes, let's go. You're there. Like 20 more days left, 10 more days left, 5 more days left. And I started to say that, and I wrote it down too. And I think writing is also important.
Yes, sir.
When you're saying these affirmations, write it out. Stick it on your wall. I have affirmations on my wall I look at every single day. Wow. And that affirmation from January of 2021, before I released, is still on my wall. That same affirmation she told me to write: I'm confident, I'm a Black male, and I'm an author. And manifestation, yes, if you repeat the things over and over, which is consistency, which is appreciation, which is purpose, which is prospering, if you do this every single day and you believe that it is possible, it is going to happen.
Yes, sir.
It is going to happen because you have to be faithful in the unknown, because everything won't happen as fast as you want. And I had to realize that because I'm a person that likes to move fast. I need it now.
Yeah, I feel it.
I need that now. I need the dreams to come true now. And I had to realize that I can't rush the process. I can't rush the journey, because then I won't appreciate it as much.
Yes, sir.
So you got to appreciate the pain. You got to appreciate the hurt. I had to appreciate writing the manuscript 20 times. And I would go back. I would tell people, the book is not done, but it's right there. I can feel it. Wow. I can feel it. I didn't know when it was going to be done, because after August, I didn't know. I didn't know when I was going to release. I just knew I wanted to release that year. And I was telling people, I feel discouraged that I didn't release in August. They're like, no, you're at a perfect time.
Yes, sir.
You're at a perfect time. Yeah. You're always at a perfect time, because your alignment is right where it's supposed to be.
That's a fact. Yeah.
Because as soon as it dropped on November 19th, it was up.
It was time.
It was time.
Yes, sir.
And I believe those 30 days that she challenged me throughout the year, manifestation was true. It was perfect alignment, because it challenged me to become a better version of myself. It transformed me to become a better version of myself, to believe that I could do anything that I wanted and no one was going to stop me.
That's beautiful stuff, man. Jeremiah, how did you feel throughout those 30 days from day 1 to about day 15, like around midway point? How did you start feeling?
So I remember day 1 saying it to her. I was like, man,
he's not really vibing out.
I'm not really vibing out. I do not want to do this.
I feel it.
And I remember like maybe day 9 or day 10, I'm like, man, I could skip a day. I don't have to say it to her, because she was like, it was no set time that I had to contact her. She says, no set time. I just need you to say it. So initially, I know days through 1 through 7, I would say it at like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. And then I kind of slacked off and did it like maybe midday. And I remember like day 13, 14, I would have like sometimes at like night, because sometimes I would forget, like, which is normal. And I had to make sure that if I actually believe that she was going to help me, which out of expectation, I didn't expect her to help me, but she just wanted to see would I take on this challenge? And
That's right.
the challenge is important because some people would challenge you to become the better version of yourself. And you never know what's going to come into that because their journey is their own, but they're just trying to see how you're going to change your mindset to appreciate where you are.
That's right.
You know?
That's
and
right.
a lot of people don't realize that because they feel like, oh, this person's supposed to help me. I'm supposed to follow everything that they're doing. When in reality, they're just changing your thinking so you can appreciate where you are and to really see how far you're going to take yourself. The wise words or the affirmations that you're saying to yourself is for you. It's not just because you're saying it to them. They want you to say it to them, of course, but they already believe in themselves.
Yeah.
They want you to believe in yourself.
That's right.
Because that's your purpose. So day 15 came and I was like, all right, I think I could do this 15 more days. I think I could really do this for more 15 more days. And I was like, all right, we're going to get it done. And I started to go back to the original table to just pretty much call her at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Or send her a voice memo. And I remember like day 20, I was screaming. I sent her like a bold message. I sent her like a voice message because something powerful happened throughout me doing something for SGA. And I was like, I'm confident. I'm a Black male and I'm an author. And she was like, wow, okay, I see it. Like, I see it. I believe in you. And that was it. Like after those 1 through 15 days really changed my way to pretty much keep going throughout those last 15 that I could actually keep going and really just appreciate where I was without any expectation.
That's great, man. On your page as well, you give out so much game about being efficient throughout our 20s, man. And I think that like right now we're seeing so many successful people such as yourself being young in our 20s, killing it. How do we maximize these great 10 years of having all the energy in the world, but at the same time, we have all the distractions in the world. We have all the transformations from graduating from college and then, you know, finding out what's next. How do we maximize our 20s?
Yes, I think the best way is to discipline yourself in something that you've never done before.
Yeah.
So I think for me, just changing out how I ate was the biggest thing that changed my life while I was writing my book.
Yeah. And no meat, right?
No meat.
Yeah. Okay.
No meat.
Yeah.
So I'm actually a flexitarian. Now, a lot of people are like, what is a flexitarian?
Yeah. Explain that for me, please. I'm all ears.
So, a flexitarian is a plant-based diet with meat-based, pescatarian options. So I primarily eat fish if I want a pescatarian option, but
so it's flexible.
Flexible, yes.
Got you.
So beginning of the year, January 2021, I'm like, all right, I need to discipline myself into something so I can maximize my book process and maximize mindset. So I think the biggest thing in our 20s is not so much focusing on other people or just chasing a bag or whatever, but if you discipline yourself into something, whether it's working out, whether it is eating something or whatever it is, no phone or no Instagram for a certain amount of months or just doing something that disciplines yourself. And it doesn't have to be long. A lot of people feel like, oh, I can do this for 5 days or 21 days or whatever it is. Just have something that is concrete that you can actually say, all right, no matter what comes up, no matter what anyone says, I'm going to discipline myself. So I remember when I changed my diet on, it actually started in December and I fell short of the diet on January 10th. I had some chicken wings. I was out with one of my friends and I was like, dang, because we had ordered some chicken wings and I think they had their own meal and I had some pasta. We was eating chicken wings for appetizer and the appetizer came out late. Wow. I'm like, well, should I eat these? And she's like, well, if you want to, like, you know, I know you're doing your diet. I'm like, all right, forget it. I'm just going to eat it. Literally, I woke up the next day. I'm like, nah, I can't do that. I got to stick to the discipline. So on January 11th, 2021, I actually said, all right, we're just going to go full in and we're just going to not eat meat.
Yeah.
So I know my brother and my family are like, oh, you just eat grass, you just eating plants and all this stuff. Nobody was taking me serious.
Wow.
And once I reached like my 6 months, they're like, whoa, bro, like you're literally not playing. I said, yeah, I'm not playing. And I remember my brother, he wanted to try it out come August of that year because he would crack jokes. He would say, boy, you need some meat. You so skinny. You need to eat some meat. You need to get some meat on your bones. You need something. And I remember him asking me, hey, bro, I want to try it out too. You know, and sometimes the people around you, when they see your discipline, they're watching you.
That's right.
They're paying attention to see how serious you are.
Wow.
Because if you're serious about your dreams, if you're serious about what you want out of life, people around you are going to start being serious about themselves as well. So he was like, all right, tell me some of your meals. Tell me some of the things that you're eating. Because I just want to try it out. And he started in August and he hasn't ate meat since.
Wow.
So I congratulate him. But he told me that he didn't really see it at first because he really didn't believe in it at first. Man. And once he started being serious about it, he saw his life transform. So then I got my mom on the same thing too.
Wow.
So my mom starts, she still eats meat sometimes, but she doesn't really eat meat at all either. And then I also encourage them to work out a little bit more, because then I started disciplining myself to work out at least 4 to 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, yeah, I always wanted to do my water aerobics class. And mind you, she's been trying to sign up for this class since probably 2 or 3 years since I was in college. And I'm like, all right, since I'm at home with you, we're going to make sure you sign up for this class. And I said, well, you're going to work. You're going to work, so you need to go after work to go sign up for the class. She's like, all right, I'm going to sign up today. She goes and signs up. She's doing her class for about 3 to 4 weeks, and she's like, Jeremiah, I appreciate you so much. She ends up losing 10 pounds from her water aerobics class. She was like, I would have never thought I could actually do this, and I feel so confident in myself. So when people feel like you can't do something, pay attention to those people that are actually serious about those dreams. Those are the people that are going to push you to make sure and hold you accountable that you can actually do whatever you want.
Right.
And they're going to reap the benefits as much as you have reaped the benefits as well. Man,
that is a crazy story from, going to being like the butt of all jokes to now, hey, if you can, slap me over like that meal plan real quick. I like that, man. Positive influence, staying on that path. How do we stay confident too? Because I already know, like, throughout that time of trying to stay disciplined, you have a distraction left and right, but then you just stayed and remained focused. If you fell off, you're like, yo, I got to hold myself accountable. I'm going to get right back on. How do you stay focused on that plan as well? Yes. So I think the best thing that I've learned with staying focused is to manage who I was surrounding myself with, and the vibes and the energies that I was around. So if I knew we were going to a specific restaurant and they didn't have some of my options, I'm like, hey man, like I can't go there with you guys, but if you want to eat somewhere else, that's cool, but if not, I just grab something before I come. And they're like, wait, you're gonna eat before you come? Like, we're going out to eat. I said, man, like I have to stay disciplined with this. I can't eat that. And if I did attend, they're like, bro, you're just eating a salad and fries. I said, man, like I'm serious about this. And I think me just encouraging myself every day, saying, all right, I know I can do this, but it's hard as heck to actually appreciate where I'm at with this discipline, to actually keep going. Because even now, I still have my hard days to say, man, I just want a Chick-fil-A sandwich. I'll be smelling, I'll be driving to work. Hey, you down here too. So
I'll be smelling Chick-fil-A. I'll be like, man, I need a Chick-fil-A sandwich. So I'll smell it and then just keep going. I think that's the appreciation. Even if I go get some French fries from there, I'm like, man, I could probably.
I'm close.
I'm close. And even hearing from people that start the journey of not eating meat, they would go fall back. They would eat meat for about 3 months, 4 months. Or I had a friend that would just do on and off balance of eat meat. And I heard some of their stories that say, hey, don't stop. Don't stop. Because they saw themselves, their energy fall down from where they were. That. Yeah. So I was like, all right, I don't want my energy to fall off from the wayside, even though I really want this meat, because sometimes our wants and needs can bring in unnecessary energies that we didn't expect to happen. And that all goes to say, when you're trying to be confident, when you're trying to discipline different things into your life, you got to pay attention to those wants and needs. Yes, you may want this, or you think you need this, when in reality you probably don't. And even now, a lot of people say, hey, where do you get your protein from? And I'm like, well, cows eat grains, cows eat plants, so they get their protein from the ground. And I'd rather eat what they're eating versus eating the actual cow, or even eating the actual chicken. So I think about that all the time, and just staying confident that I'm able to accomplish it no matter what comes my way, and just surrounding myself with higher energy, and just the sensibility of who I'm around. I appreciate that the most, because that's the biggest benefactor of just encouraging myself to keep going no matter what is at hand. Man, that's great. Our wants and needs, distractions, on your page, again, you be dropping a lot of gems. Again, man, just like talking about women as well. I saw that post, and then being a young author, and you have this project, this beautiful thing that you had to wrap up for young authors out there, young men who are trying to finish up that first book. How do they stay focused on the book and not worried about going out on date night all the time, or worried about this girl, that girl? Yes. So I think the best thing is, a lot of people, I wore this shirt that says invest in yourself. So if you're investing in yourself, you can't have a sensibility to invest in someone else. Doesn't matter if it's a woman or not. So you're going out with this woman, you're investing into her, which is not, it's not a bad thing. It's really not a bad thing, but your benefit should be first. If you say you want to write this book, if you're going to actually go down this journey or whatever you're trying to plan out, invest in yourself first. You can still put money to the side for that person, but all your primary expenses should go to your project. And if you can't balance both, then that means, all right, I need to focus on what I said I want first. Women can wait. And I know for me, I was celibate for about 3.5 months the first time, and then I went 5 months without just dealing with women at all.
You're probably super focused at that time. Yeah.
And that's the only thing I was focused on was my project. And that was the biggest thing for me, because a lot of people were like, hey, because as men, sometimes a lot of people think, you know, we got to have a lot of women. We got to deal with a lot of women. We got to take them out on dates, treat them, because you see a lot of artists do that.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is that you have to realize that what you want out of life is more important than the pleasures and necessities that you think that actually are going to benefit you right now. When in reality, your project is going to last longer than that 3 minutes or 5 minutes of pleasure that you're trying to appreciate, or even that hour or 2 hours you spend with that girl. And you can really maximize your potential when you're out doing whatever you want. With your book or your project, you're scheduling photo shoots, you're scheduling different meetups with different authors to get guidance from them, or even scheduling lunch ups, whatever it is to actually benefit your project, just to gain insight. Because I think that's the biggest thing when as men, just finding that balance to actually balance our projects and the woman life. And I think if you don't discipline yourself, then women are not even going to take you seriously.
That's right.
So if they see a men of value, women value men of value that actually are taking their project seriously or taking something seriously. Because if you're just out here just doing anything, you might find some women that, you know, want that, but at the same time, real women of value appreciate men of value because the connection is there. They have something to offer. So we attract what you attract. So at the same time, when you are out with women, when you're spending time with women, realize that that project still has to get done.
That's right.
So when I was writing my book, I still went out on dates here and there, but at the same time, I would get out the date and I would go right back to the drawing board to just revise the manuscript. I would stay up to like 3 a.m. Doesn't matter if I went out with them to 1, 2 a.m. And they're like, man, you probably got lit a little bit. I said, man, I flipped the switch. I flipped the switch immediately because I want to get right back into that focus of grinding out to make sure this is complete. Because I wanted to find out if this was really for me. And I think that's the biggest thing, is having a balance. And then 2, realize that your discipline helps you. It enables you to keep going and just focusing on the things that are important to you.
That's good stuff, man. How did it feel when you typed that very last sentence, the very last word, and you hit period? How'd that feel when you finally finished Prosper, man? I
literally got up and I was like, yes.
You did it. Yeah.
I literally was like, yes. And I was in my room, I was in my room. No, actually, I wasn't in my room. I was in my kitchen, in my house. And I was like, man, we're done. Like, I'm done. I called my brother. I'm like, man, we out. We out. Like, all we got to do is edit and just go back to the drawing board a little bit. But the official manuscript is done. And I was like, man, because I've only showed probably about 3 to 4 people the actual like rough draft of the manuscript, the one before the editing. And a lot of people enjoyed that authentic word that I was actually like pouring out. I was like, man, like I was excited. Like I was excited. And I think the biggest thing was that all the hard work throughout me just writing for 4.5 months paid off. I actually disciplined myself to actually complete the project despite of me going through my birthday. I actually was writing on my birthday. I had a birthday party that same weekend. I woke up the next day, started writing again, and just really just maximizing my potential to really just keep going. And once I hit period, it was over.
That was it. Wow.
It was over. I called my friend / mentor / brother, and I was like, all right, like let's go to the editing stage. Let's just keep going. You know, I didn't stop. I think I gave myself about a week to really just like let it soak in. But I was like, man, let's go. Let's keep it going. Man. And that was the most amazing part of the journey, was that rough draft was finished, because by the time it was released, I already went through the pain and the suffering. I didn't saw all the ins and outs of it. I spent countless time investing in the project. So that last period, I was excited. I was appreciative that I actually disciplined myself to keep going.
Man, I love that. What do you appreciate the most about 20 different manuscripts, going through all the ups and downs? What did you take overall from that crazy journey of trying to finish Prosper?
I think the best thing was to prosper. So that's why the name resonated with me the most.
Yeah.
Because despite of all the ups and downs, despite of going back to the drawing board 20 times to create the manuscript, I would scroll up. So if I was on chapter 8 and I was trying to finish chapter 8, or if I was on chapter 6, I was like, all right, I would scroll all the way up to the top, and it said Prosper by Jeremiah O'Brien. My name on paper made sure that I had to believe that this dream was possible and that I can prosper despite of what was happening, despite of what anybody was saying, or despite of anybody counting me out to actually finish the book. I had to prosper, and that name resonated with me because prosper signifies growth.
Yes, sir.
It signifies is get into your roots, going back to where you are.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most essential part of the book, was that our roots makes us important. Like the roots where we are makes the benefit of life appreciative. It makes it more confusing at a time, but it makes you essentially great. It makes you essentially great, and makes sure is that you are actually possible to achieve this dream and prosper, literally, and prospering, and make sure that I was able to fulfill this dream that I countlessly wanted my entire life.
Man, y'all, this is an amazing story. Tap in with Jeremiah, please. Again, being a young author, again, there's so many people who probably look up to you, who do look up to you. For young writers right now who could be having writer's block, creator's block, how do we fight through those tough times of saying, yo, this book, it might not just happen, or it's too stressful, or I have this going on, I'm working, I'm in school, SGA President. How do we fight through all those other titles and say, yo, I got to finish this book. I have to.
The first thing you have to do is create a schedule. So the hardest thing I had was making a whole bunch of to-do lists for the day.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to make chapter 8 better. I have to make chapter 7 better. And I would spend hours and hours. I would literally spend 6 to 7 hours a day writing, and I would get nothing done. I remember it was during Christmas time, and I was sitting at the dining room table in our living room, and I had one word on the paper. I had one word on paper, and I was like, I don't have anything to say right now. I don't have anything to say. And I just fell asleep. My mom came down and shoved me. She's like, Jeremiah, you okay? You've been sitting down here for a long time. I'm like, yeah, I'm not okay. Like, and the schedule helped me really just break down, okay, at this time is my cutoff time. This is when I'm starting. This is when I'm ending.
You had to hold yourself accountable.
Holding myself accountable to make sure that I was actually maximizing my time, because at a lot of times you still have to give yourself grace, which is the second part of just whatever project you're working on. Just give yourself grace. So the first thing I learned was to, one, create a schedule and give myself grace that it was actually going to happen. So people would say, all right, you need to get out, you need to go, like, we could just be social for a couple hours and then you come back and write, but you need to have a balance. You need to be able to have just the experience, of course, real life and your project at the same time, because you never know who you might meet, and they're like, oh, you're writing a book, what's your book about? And then now you're talking to them about your book, you're talking to them about your journey, or whatever your project is, and now you can go back to your drawing board, and now you just wrote 4, 5, 6 pages that can really like change your whole trajectory of how your book process is about to go. So I think the first thing is to create a schedule, blocking out time to stop and to start, and then giving yourself grace throughout this journey to really appreciate how you want to attack that dream to make sure it comes into fruition.
Most definitely, man. Shout out to your brother Josh, identical twin. I know that that's tough, trying to find identity. Especially people can always say, oh, I get y'all confused. Or, I mean, just having a brother growing up together, having that journey. How did you find out who Jeremiah was, and not always just being, oh, he's the twin brother?
Right. So I think the biggest thing was when I got to college, I was so used to people saying, hey, what's up, twins? What's up, twins? Hey, twins. Yeah. And I started to tell people, no, I'm Jeremiah O'Brien.
That's right. I'm a person.
I'm Jeremiah.
Yeah.
So I got so used to it in high school, middle school, elementary school. I was like, all right, well, I'm a twin, so that's the easiest way they're going to remember me. Yeah. But I think our names are important. My uncle, when I was younger, he said, your first and last name is the most important thing in the world, because as men, that's the first thing you have. That's your bond. That's you're holding yourself accountable to your name. If somebody remembers your name, then they're going to appreciate who you are. That's right. And I take that so seriously when I'm meeting different people. I'm like, hey, what is your name? And I think that's important, because if I remember your name, then I can remember who you are, that experience we had. Because a lot of people say, yeah, I'm really good at remembering faces, but not names. And I think that's not good as well. Yeah. But I think the biggest thing was for me to appreciate me being a twin. Yes, some people will get us confused. Yes, some people still call us twin, but you first know me as Jeremiah O'Brien, And a lot of times people are like, how can I tell you guys apart? First thing I say, well, I'm Jeremiah.
It's my name. Yeah.
That's how you can tell me apart. That's how you can tell me apart.
That's right.
And then I may go into just a little bit of details.
I may
go into a bit of details of how you could tell us apart. Maybe he wears earrings, I don't wear earrings, or we switch our personalities. Maybe one time, maybe one of us may be a little bit standoffish to be watchful. The other one may be the aggressive or attackful one to make sure we get the job done. Yeah. Or one may be a little bit more quiet or timid. So we kind of our energies kind of bounce off each other sometimes, especially when we're together. But Jeremiah is that's who I am. Yeah. And I think that was the first thing I was talking to people when I got to college was to allow them to realize that, yes, I'm a twin and I'm Jeremiah. This is Joshua. Your objective now is to figure out who is who, because don't call me twin. Call me by my name. My name is important. That's the outline of who I am.
You're not going to minimize them, y'all. You're not. Man, that's great. So Jeremiah now knows who he is, man. Great author, transformational storyteller.
Yes, sir.
If you could go back in time and talk to Jeremiah on page 1 who's trying to type, or Jeremiah that's going through manuscript number 19, what would you tell him right now?
I think the best thing I would tell him is take your time. Like you're literally okay from where you're at. Continue to tell people about your story before it's done. Talk to people about what do you want to do? What are those dreams that you want to do? Because once you're talking to people about it and people start to believe in it, then you're going to start to believe in it as well. And I think that was the biggest thing that I learned, was to appreciate that even though I was on manuscript 19 or typing chapter 1, was that I had to continue to tell people about the story. A lot of people gatekeep information, and I think that is lacking information sometimes, because a lot of people are like, hey, I don't want to tell anybody anything. Like, I want to keep everything to myself. I'm not going to tell anybody about my journey.
I don't want any competition.
I don't want any competition. And it's like, well, you're competing with yourself initially anyway. So you might as well just talk to people about what are you trying to do. Because a lot of times people are like, yeah, I don't want to tell people because I don't want people in my business. I want to just keep stuff to myself. I want to be, so when I release and drop, it's so big to the world. But I've learned throughout that process, once I started to tell people about the story, when I was writing chapter 1, when I was writing chapter 2, when I got to 19, people already knew about the book. So now they're just waiting. Then now they're just waiting for it to be released. So instead of me just writing and then dropping and not telling anyone, I had people that were there and reminded me, hey, you need to do this. You need to reach out. Think about these organizations to reach out to talk to. Oh, here's an event that I think would be great when your book is finished. Oh, here's some editors that I think that would be great. Oh, did you get your copyright yet? You know, people were there along the step because I opened up my mouth and said, this is what I want. This is what I want to achieve. And I started to talk about the story. So my encouragement to people that are just in that stage of just trying to figure out, if you're on step 1, don't compare yourself to somebody that's on step 30.
That's right.
You're just starting out.
Yeah.
Like you're just starting out. And like I said before, comparison kills purpose. So don't compare yourself to those people that are on step 30 and you're just starting out at step 1. Like, yes, look at them for motivation, inspiration, but turn that inspiration into value into yourself, so you can be able to appreciate who you are and where you want to go. So that was the biggest thing I would tell myself back then. Just, Jeremiah, take your time and just continue to tell your story.
One of my 2 last questions, man. Right now, what would you want for that ideal person to get from Prosper, from reading the book, sitting down, checking it out? What would you want for them to gain from the book?
Yes, I think the biggest thing I want people to gain is to appreciate where you are and to prosper, literally. So prosper is getting back to your roots, to realize that where you started is not always where you will stay.
Yes, sir.
It's not always where people, even when people are doubting you or counting you out, your story is so important. It is value in your story. Get out and tell your story. I think that's the biggest thing I want people to learn is even people that are doing student leadership, because a lot of people, being a leader is hard. It's really hard because a lot of people feel like, oh, I'm a leader, I'm cool, I don't really have to do anything. Get out and talk to people on your campus. Get out and talk to people to tell them about events that's going on. Hear from people, speak to people, because sometimes, a lot of times, people feel like, oh, I want to be quick to speak up, or you're having a conversation with people, they already had their own thought in mind, they're so quick to respond. You didn't even hear what I said. So I want people to realize when they read my book, the story has value because I was able to meet a lot of people, but I was also met by a lot of people that counted me out, that didn't believe in what I wanted to do, and envy of other people. So yes, you will find people that you're like, oh, I want to be like that. But realize that your own potential is so much important than anything in the world.
Yes, sir.
And you can prosper in leadership, you can prosper throughout life, and you are able to find yourself through that pain situation that you may be going through, because that's where the value also comes from, pain and hurt. Because once you already acknowledge who you are and where you are, oh, you're unstoppable at that point.
Man, I love that. It's a saying, heavy is the head that wears the crown. And you were just talking about being a leader, it being tough. How do you take care of your own mental health, of having a balance, being a leader, being an author, all these different components, and just being a regular person? How do you try to balance all that mentally as well?
Yes, I think the best thing I do, I journal a lot. So I journal, which is one thing. I work out 4 to 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And I also do therapy. I go to therapy.
I love it.
So I think those are the 3 things that help me balance my mental, especially as men. A lot of people, you know, working out, yes, helps, but you need to have some type of balance of like journaling. I learned that from one of my friends. I'm like, bro, you journal. Like, you journal? I don't want to get no journal. He was like, bro, you need to journal, bro. He was like, don't get a composition book and journal. You need to get something that you hold value to, some type of journal that you can say, oh, I love this journal. I want to write in it. And you don't have to write every day. And a lot of people think, you know, you want to write in their journal every day or write certain thoughts down. You don't have to. You can just write whatever comes to mind. Hold on to that, because writing is important. When you put it out on paper, 9 times out of 10, like I said, God gives you a glimpse of what you have written, but also he gives you a glimpse of the things that you want out of life. But that's confirmation. When you write it down, it approves that, okay, I acknowledge where I'm at. This is what I want. This is what I want to achieve. And now I can visually see what I want. And being a leader was the hardest thing. So appreciating where I was the biggest thing. I had to realize that even though going to therapy or just realizing that I had to work out, just being consistent and disciplined and all of that, despite of people saying, hey, you know, you're really skinny, you're not really gaining any weight. And I said, well, mentality says that if I'm working out, if I'm doing cardio, if I'm doing this 4 times, 5 times a week, strength doesn't measure my ability in my mind. Strength doesn't measure my ability to speak, to talk to people, to walk on this ground of earth, you know. And a lot of people feel like, you know, the image of who we are is the mentality, which is important. I feel like how you look in the mirror when you wake up, that's the first thing people usually do. They go look in the mirror, they brush their teeth, they wash their face. And if you're not proud of who you are, you know, I think that's the biggest thing that you should take care of. And I know for me, a lot of people used to always say, you're so skinny. So I'm taking care of that, but I'm not really too fond of people saying, you know, I'm too skinny or whatnot. I'm cool with that. And that's something that I enjoy, was to work out on my own time, do the things that I want, go to therapy, because that helps speaking to other people that are not biased to who you are. So don't go to a family member. Don't go to anybody that's a therapist. Go to somebody you don't know. And the last thing, like I said, was to write down in journaling. Definitely helped me.
Man, Jeremiah, we appreciate you so much, man, for pulling up. Very last question before we leave is, where do you see yourself within the next 5 to 10 years? Not only that, man, as being somebody who once said that you weren't the world's best writer, to now have published a book, where do you see everything heading within the next 5 to 10 years, man?
Yes. So I see myself at least writing 2 more books. So I want to write a sequel to Prosper as well. And I also want to write a book dedicated to children, the youth. So a kid's book. One of my friends gave me that inspiration to write a book based off of children and how the development of males at a younger age are not challenged as much because fathers are not in their lives. They don't have the space to be vulnerable. They don't have the space to just come out and say, hey, like, I have an issue, or talk. And just about building relationships is really, really important at a younger age, to say, hey, bro, I'm here for you. And at the end of the day, I think that's important. So I see myself writing 2 more books. I also see myself working on a couple projects with my identical twin brother.
Nice.
Really just building our motivational brand together to really influence and impact the people that we meet and the people that we encounter, to really just push ourselves to that next level, and to really just take center stage with the lights flashing on us, to really just empower the world internationally with my twin brother. I think that would be really, really beneficial for the both of us to really just change the lives of others. So.
Speaking that into existence, my man. Lastly, where can everybody follow you, keep up with your work, purchase the book, check you out? If they have questions about, yo, Jeremiah, how do I get started? Where can everybody contact you at and follow you?
Yes. So if you want to purchase the book, you can purchase at jeremiahobriant.com. That's JeremiahObryant.com.
Yeah.
Or if you want to log on Instagram, you can find me at jeremiah.o'bryant.
Yes, sir.
And the link is in the bio to purchase the book, which is also some interviews I've done as well. So you can find me on there.
Yes, sir.
If you want to, just ask me some questions via DM or even on Twitter. Twitter is JD O'Bryant _.
Got you.
So shoot me a DM on Instagram or on Twitter, and we can definitely set up a Zoom call or we can set up a phone call. I'm an open book. I love to talk. So if you have any questions about writing a book, if you have any questions or guidance, it's just about finding yourself. And even just talking, you need somebody to talk to. I'm an open book. And I want to see the best in you. I see the value in who you are. So definitely connect with me. And I look forward to connecting with all of you as well.
Man, Jeremiah O'Brien, y'all make sure to tap in with him, follow him, show him love, purchase his book, Purpose. It's amazing. Shout out to his brother Josh as well. Shout out to Trent, man, for capturing this moment. Sid, Devin, the whole entire team. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all see the book. Support it, man. Follow us at 3 Milli Pod. Check us out as well. And shout out to my guy, Ken Stevens, Blk Agenda. Make sure to show him some love. Friend on the show. He was recently on as well. Purchase his merch. Check him out. Jeremiah O'Brien, he is the man. Check him out, y'all. See y'all next episode. Peace.